folks, welcome to another edition of AKS Me Anything. Today we're here with Pradeep, with PKC, who's part of our EEE team. And I think probably for our audience, that might be a foreign acronym. So why don't you explain to us a little bit what is EEE and what is this team?
So EEE is that's expanded Embedded Escalation Engineering.
Embedded Escalation Engineer. Okay.
Yeah. So we are highest technical escalation point in our support scene. That's called CSS.
I see. So if a customer opens a ticket, then they will typically go to something more frontline. Maybe that's the first tier of support engineers.
So
and you folks are the last line before they get to the product teams and the engineers. Is that right?
So the thing is that I have a team of around 400 plus engineers working across the globe, 24/7, 365 days. So those are the engineers who will be working directly with the customers and when they open a ticket with Microsoft. So once they have cases, they will be working internally and they will, with that internal documentation and internal diagnostic platform, in case if they're stuck, they have another bunch of the technical advisors and they will be going to work with them. If that doesn't work, they have a global advisors with that on team and all those things. If all these things are failed, and if that was mostly that's on some of our top-notch customers, as we to call them as our customers.
Okay, S500 is probably aligned to kind of that top 500.
Top 500, yes, you're right. Yeah, top 500 customers. That was one of the biggest customers for Microsoft and the biggest revenue generator for the customer, Microsoft. So there it's workload that's very critical. They need a faster resolution, and that case they will be escalating to our team. It's called they need an embedded escalation engineer. So one good thing about that embedded escalation engineer, we are directly working with the product group. We are sitting with the product group. We know that's what the product group is doing. We have a pretty much good access to the product group source code.
Hence the embedded.
Yeah.
Got it.
That is the embedded escalation.
Got it. And so the kind of two ways you mentioned there is so you either a customer opens a ticket, work directly with one of our support engineers there, and then if they can't solve the problem, they'll escalate. Their technical advisors will help them through it, and then if necessary, they'll put you folks in.
Yes.
And the other one, if we have one of the mission critical customers with some of the mission critical workloads, they also might go even faster to you folks. Very good. And what are some of the typical things that you guys do as part of that team?
So yeah, that's something like we were helping the customers, getting the data. We were pretty much we have good access to those product groups. We can help the customers. We can look at the source code. We can identify what might be, because by looking at that kind of customer symptoms, what they were doing, we should be on what's part of the code, where it is failing, and we should be directly jumping to the code, and we know that on what might be. And one good thing that our engineers, most of the embedded escalation engineers, we are very talented guys. And for me, I'm with the Microsoft support for around a couple of decades. Yeah. And almost all my members, my team is more than 10 years. And working very closely, very hardly on that supports area, working on that. They have a really good understanding of the internals of the operating systems, networking. And so we can pick up by looking at the symptom, okay, this is the area it's going. So we can directly jump into that code. If it is an AKS or whatever, we directly jump into the code and we will look at that. What might be we looking at it? We can look at that exact data, what we have. We will just pull the data and we will look at, okay, this might be that. Most of the time we will be able to, if this customer configuration issue or something related to the product group and something, we will be able to keep it. That's first thing, fix the issue, mitigate the issue. Then we will be going into our next area. So primarily we are working in the two areas. One is the support. This is the primary area we will help in the customers. Next one is that supportability.
I see.
That is how we helping the customers or the product group to stop this kind of issues.
So it's kind of like reactive and proactive.
Reactive, yes, absolutely, you said right. Yeah.
Also, so one of the things you mentioned is on the reactive side, the folks in the team are very technical, very experienced, have been with the company for quite some time. They have the breadth and depth, they have access to the source code, and they technically at last line of support that a lot of our customers get to. What's the last one that you worked on? What are some of the last example of support tickets that you had to do that you can share with the audience?
Great question. Working on this, every day I was working on something on another escalation. But then one thing very typically I was remembering now is like, it was like last week's. I was working one of that, top-notch customers, and it's like they were going to the latest V6 version.
Yeah.
And
so it's our newer V6 VMs that Azure just announced.
Yes. So it's a very latest VM. So what they were doing is that it's a very tricky because autoscaler, CAS, what they're spinning up the node, and it's immediately failing.
Okay, so Cluster Autoscaler was trying to scale a node.
Yeah.
And that was Cluster Autoscaler was failing.
Yeah, not autoscaler. The node itself is failing.
The node itself is failing. Okay.
And it's a very weird error message.
Okay.
It's giving you that exit status code 1.
Exit status code 1.
Yeah.
That's very, very clear for the user.
Right. Yes. These are all other things. This is like I'm just thinking, what is happening here?
Okay.
And so some of these kind of error message issues, we need to see that extension error messages, and we need to look at that. So what is exactly happening from that node? Because node itself is not able to connect to the control plane.
Okay.
So we don't absolutely know data with us.
Right.
And
because I know this is in the customer subscription at that point, but it's not connected to the control plane, so you're very limited on what you do.
And one more thing is that when the CAS fails, class doesn't get a response back from the node for sometimes, it's going to delete it.
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
So that's a functionality of CAS is if the node itself isn't provisioned or isn't failed for some time, doesn't know about it at all, it just goes and deletes it, right?
Yeah, we don't have the data.
Right.
So that was one of the pain points there, and getting the data. So what I have done is, I don't know whether you have heard about some internal tool like XTS and Jarvis. And XTS, there's a feature like we can directly go into the storage.
Right.
It's a storage tool. And I can, from our internal tool like an ASC or Kusto, I can get that's container detail which is failed. Just picked up.
And by container here, you mean the VM container?
VM container, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it says containers all the way down. So in this case, the VM themselves, as they're in the host, they're in their own containers.
Yeah.
And they also have storage containers as well. So you use that tool to observe those storage containers, and then what do you find on those?
So I just download those storage logs. Luckily, I got it. But most of the time, this is not enough. Some 3 or 4 times I have done, I'm asking the customer, go to me once again. He's kind of little frustrated. But then, some third time, storage is not removed because there are some time period storage. We will keep it in the back end for some time, even though VM is
of course, because everything is cleaned up after the node goes away. But so you're trying to find it in that window where
it is very difficult. You need to get that. It's on a tree party that you need to get the exact container ID, and then you need to go to the storage. It's a huge SAN area, and from there only one you need to get it. And at last third time I got it. And looking at it, I started looking at the our extension log, Cloud Init log. Looks good. Syslog.
All the init is fine, okay.
Yeah,
Syslog.
looks good.
Okay.
And then I looked at the messaging log. It's one small message was there. As you see, it's not initiating.
Huh.
Then looks like then I have an work with I think we looks at some of the source code paths and why that's SUCNI and what is dependent on it. Then it is connected back to our Swift v2.
Okay.
Swift is as a container networking, our internal networking, that secured workflow. And Swift is
it's a way to get pods and to get
Azure container networking. It is like it's based on that NIC level. It is work. Optimized it, and it's used for the performance, and it's for an Azure ANI, DNC, delegate networking, and all these things are working on the Swift.
Right.
It's come to the.
And so those components weren't initiated properly.
Yes, it is initiated properly. No logs, proper error going. Base this one. Look at the code. Okay, the Swift is that's responsible because I just see the CNI. Look at the Swift. Swift is not initiated.
See what's actually popping up that error message. See what
Error message Swift is not dropping but from the code I can see the Swift.
Right.
Then I think I have worked with somebody from the networking team to see that what's happening. Then finally, Okay, safety.
So then that's the time where you work with someone from the networking team directly in that case.
Yeah.
And figure out, okay, so this is a new VM, the components are not starting. I already routed that this is because Swift is not initializing, and then they presumably will help you to figure that out.
Yeah, and then make sure that what my theory is correct.
Right.
Because this is the only things I can just see from. I've not written the code, and I can need to make sure that's okay.
Right.
So for the container, they should, CNI depends on.
So you're very, capable of then finding where the issue is, but then the why it's happening sometimes needs to go to whoever wrote the code.
Yeah.
And what's the intention of that? That makes sense. And so that's kind of where that border and that handoff happens as well.
Yeah.
The
You won't believe it's an issue with that V6 agent vehicle. That's one.
Of course.
We are not doing it.
Yeah.
And good thing is that we fixed it. And I think June release it is there, not fix is there.
Very good, very good. So it's important to
later I learned that there is this similar kind of issue with Azure Linux 3 also.
Very good. So it's kind of happening at different OSs as well.
Yeah, it's a Microsoft Azure Linux also. Yeah. It's all that SIP based OS. It's happening.
Very good. Yeah. All right, so that's kind of an example of one of the tickets that in that first area that you mentioned, which is to get tickets and then going really, really deep on them when the other tiers of support need help to find it, and going all the way to the code and then bringing the right team, in that case even the networking team, together sometimes with the AKS team and others. And you mentioned that's one of two areas. The other one is supportability, which is the more proactive area, right? Yes. So that's how to help the customer help themselves.
Yes, that is supportability, helping the customer to very confidently house their workload in Microsoft environment. You're giving that. So once I get these kind of tickets, so first things I'll do, help the customers mitigate the issue, get their workload up and running. Then I will go back to the table and figure out why this issue is happening and how to prevent these kind of issues happening from the customers. Right. And this is one of the issues I was just doing. There are many things out there. So some of the things I have seen, maybe some customer configuration issue. They were not wrongly configuring things and they will break, or they are not using the proper capacity. And those are some of the things. So when we are trying to do and provide a solution, it's called a shift left approach. That was first we will see that how we can fix the issue from the product level itself or code level itself by giving a proper error messages or giving a guardrail to the customers to do that. Don't do that. Don't allow the customer to do what they.
And that's where we got a lot of suggestions as well from you folks on like, hey, we've been finding this issue quite some times, or maybe this issue isn't clear enough. We need to get the error messages clearer, or we need to maybe guardrail, do a better validation here, etc. That makes a ton of sense, and that goes in. A simpler error message. We got Sinue actually here recently talking about a lot of the work they're doing in the CRUD-SIG to actually get a lot of those error messages, and I know that's been in partnership with you folks a lot. And a better error message is often something that is enough to help the customer help itself, right?
And something if we cannot give a better error message, we are expecting the customer to do something, some troubleshooting steps. So what we are doing is we have a bunch of external public TSGs for troubleshooting. And nothing works here, error message, giving the error message. One line we cannot give the error message. We will give a short link of that error message to the customers, and they can just click on the short link, go to our complete how to troubleshoot and how they can fix it. We are maintaining that public document, troubleshooting documents out there. I would say that anybody have that issue, just look at that short error message, what is there, and then go there and you should be able to fix it. That's something sometimes our CSS engineers also do. That's it. Very good. Look at for there.
Very good.
So we are doing it. That was like from the customer sense.
Very good.
In case if nothing was able to do that, then we will look at that one from our Azure portal. We have something called diagnostic and solvability. That was a
right. So if the customer can't, by the error message or the operation figure it out, they'll go to, typically, like in Windows, you go to the troubleshooter. In the Azure portal and AKS, you go to the diagnose and solve.
Azure portal. So from there, we will be like, if the customers give their cluster details, or we will just pick up the cluster details, and we will be show that one bunch of things like what is some of the error messages, some of the best where the customer is practicing the best practices, and this is most of the things.
Where do those? I guess. How does diagnose and solve knows what the most typical issues are and the most typical error messages and how to handle them?
So some of the things that we will be do them with a previous error, what we have
Right.
a
So it's
rich
your
database
experience
pattern.
actually that is
Yeah.
baked into the tool itself.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's pretty
And
cool.
the second thing is that when we will pull this data from the Microsoft internal databases,
Oh, got
where
it.
we store those customers' data. It's not like customers' database. We doesn't store any customer private P2 data. Only that's public. That's how what we needed. Our data is what we need. By that one, we will look at that error message. We will look at that pattern mapping and see that on our rich database and try it and see that. We will say, okay, these are some of the issues. There is a configuration issue that you may have an issue. This one.
And in many cases, you can even see if the cluster has a configuration or not.
Yeah,
based on
yeah.
say, like, this is probably the issue.
It's given complete
Very
rich
cool.
data, yeah.
Very cool. Well, that's a very nice way to kind of put both things, the reactive and the proactive, and how your team helps across. I know that a lot of times your team might not be getting the credit it deserves, or you know, seen as well from the customers who are typically interacting with different support engineers, or sometimes even directly with us. It's a great pleasure to have you here. Kind of talk a little bit about the unsung heroes on Triple E.
Absolutely.
Maybe we'll invite some of your colleagues.
Absolutely.
Kind of
I would
come
say
new
that.
additions.
Yeah, I would say that. So this is all what we are doing.
Yeah.
So right now we are shifting our focus more on an AI base.
Oh, that would be cool
I'll
to
say
know.
that this is like a pattern mapping. We are starting put my LLM and Azure Copilot and see how rich we can get those details and how much we can help the customers. And we were even in case if this is not working with the customer before creating the ticket. Based on what he has added, we were doing this pattern mapping, and we will see that. So, what kind of error message? Then, based on that error message, we will tell the customer, "Can you get this data before creating the ticket? Because that will be a help our."
Oh yeah, that will be super cool to deep dive on future editions. Well, thank you so much, PKC. It was a pleasure talking to you. And for all of you at home, this was another edition of AKS Me Anything. I hope you enjoyed. As usual, don't forget to like and subscribe to the AKS community channel. Let us know what is the next thing that you want us to talk about, or if you have any questions, we're always glad to answer. Have a rest of a great day.
Yep, thanks.